Nested containers are read from the outermost container to the innermost container, and data that doesn't match the rules in subsequently read containers will be discarded. If you nest containers, hits typically go inside of visits, and visits will go inside of visitors. Although this can be broken, for example, there are situations where a visitor container could be nested in a visit container, but that's not all that common. If you need to create a complex sequential statement that breaks and ignores sequences within the container, you'll use the logic group container. Let's talk a little bit about a nested visit container inside of a visitor container with the then operator. When you have visitor container segments with two nested visit containers, the visitor container shows everything about visitors with at least two visits that meet the criteria. So let's look at an example. First, we're working with the visit container, and let's say the Let's look at an example. First, we're working with the visit container, and let's say the criteria for visit 1 is that the user arrive through the campaign summer sale, and you can see that as the first statement. Then we're going to add an AND, which is going to check to see if the user started the checkout process. And on top of that, you'll see another AND, they did not place an order. The criteria for the second visit container is that it occurred sometime after visit 1, and that's the then sequential statement designation. And then they placed at least one order during that visit. If all those conditions are met, the result will be all the visit data. If we look at this definition example, you'll notice in the top right-hand corner, it reads include everyone, which means it's using the include everyone designation. By default, that means that this segment would show all visitor activity of any visitor that completed the sequence that's being described here in the definition. You have the option, however, to view just the visitor activity that occurred before or after this sequence was completed by a visitor. A common use case would be show me visitor activity after someone leaves an item in their shopping cart without purchase. Logic groups are used when you apply the then operator. It provides a way to ignore order for parts of sequential segments. An example of when to use a logic group. Let's say the requirement was to see if visitors view the campaign landing page first, the order confirmation page last, and the product demo page and the coupon page somewhere in the middle. The challenge with this is the product demo page and coupon page could be viewed in any order. This is not a typical Fallout report. The solution? Use a logic group for the two middle pages. As long as both were viewed, regardless of the order between the two, the segment criteria will be met. Here's an example. The visitor container contains 3 nested containers, 2 hit containers, and 1 logic group. The then operator is used between the containers, requiring container criteria to occur in order. The logic container uses the AND operator, requiring both pages to be seen, but in no particular order. Let's review a rolling date in a segment. This gives you the ability to use relative periods of time in your segments. In this example, all visitors who have given us $500 or more in revenue in the last 30 days are included as part of this segment. That then brings up the segment manager. It's similar to manage projects in the analysis workspace, but the segment manager keeps your segments organized and accessible. In the analytics menu, you would go to the components menu, then you would choose segments to access the segments manager. Notice that you can tag, making it easier to find a segment. You can share the segment with others in analytics. You can delete, remove. You can also approve, which is simply a tag that designates a segment as officially sanctioned but doesn't change its functionality in any way. And you can copy it to build new segments from the ones that you've already built. And finally, you can export to CSV. This exports segment metadata such as the owner, report suite, tags, date modified, so on and so forth.